Someone in reverse.
Good morning. I'm listening to Donald Trump and Davos talk about acquiring Greenland and talking about windmills. And it's enough to drive you insane. So I'm going to teach a series of workshops, very short little workshops called Dread Be Gone, where we can actually find a bit of space of quiet, calm, equilibrium, and relief from the insanity that is the United States of America at this point in time. And as a Canadian, I really see Greenland as simply a precursor to what they're going to do in Canada. So here we go.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
All right. Here we are, sitting down, feeling the relief of just sitting. And you can sit anywhere you like, any way you like. You don't have to sit like this. You can have a furry friend nearby. They're always good to relieve stress. And we're just going to breathe. So first of all, we're going to do a breath that is fierce because you need to ward off fear. I was reading somewhere, someone said, fear is excitement without the breath. So let's turn our fear into something else. If not excitement, then calm. All right, so here we go. We're going to inhale, and then we're going to do a lion's breath, which is to stick your tongue out and cross your eyes. It's a fierce, fierce exhalation. So here we go. Inhale. And then another one, inhale. And here's another one. You too can scare your dog away with your fierce lion's breath. I'm sure that will do something to the Americans when they come along the street. Should they come along the street? Seems unlikely, but who knows? I'm inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Now we're going to use our arms just to open our chest up a little bit. So open up your arms. Inhale, look at your thumbs, and then down again. Exhaling. Arms up, look at your thumbs, inhale, and then exhale. You could be sitting in a chair here. Inhale up, look at your arms, and then open out again. Good. And last time. Very nice. Good. All right. So let's stretch our legs out in front of us. Or my toes are up here. And I'll sit back a little bit further. And you can sit on a blanket to lift your hips up here, which is a very helpful thing. And I'm just going to breathe here, but I'm in staff position, Dandasana, pressing my hands into the floor and really feeling that I'm lifting up right here, that I've got a lot of energy in my spine, and I'm focusing once again on my breath and on being present here. I can feel the weight of my body on the floor and on this blanket and on my mat. And I am inhaling and exhaling, feeling the expansion first of my belly, and then of my ribs, and then of my upper chest. And you can put your thumbs underneath your arm and put your hands on your upper chest. So let's go belly, ribs, and then upper chest. And then exhale. belly, ribs, and upper chest. Exhale. Inhale, belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. I'm going to put my hand on the ground here and lift up to the side and really breathe into that side body. And then I'm going to slide my arm along and just move to the side here. Good. And then I'm coming up and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Good. And back again. Now you might feel better if you have your legs apart here. And here we're stretching the hamstrings and the groin. Once again, you could still be on the chair. We're just going to go back and forth. So over stretching, opening up the side body, and then the other way. Good. And then this way, and this way. Good. Now we're going to bring our feet together and cross, we're going to straighten our legs out, and then we'll just do a twist, a simple twist. So we're going to lift this leg up. You could be in a chair once again, holding on to the back of the chair and the side of the chair or your hip. And here you can keep this bottom leg out, or you can draw it back and press this foot into the ground. And then this knee is up, so the opposite arm goes up, and you're twisting to the side, lifting up. You want some spinal mobility so you can defend yourself. It all seems completely mad as a hatter, but the fact that a world power is acting like Louis XIV or a crime boss or a version of both, and we have, I don't know, 75% of our economy is linked to the US. We are in big trouble as Canadians. So I am breathing into my spine. I like being aware of what's going on and what's happening and what's not happening. And here I go. I'm going to go around this way and lift up and look over my shoulder. Good. So now let's straighten those legs out again. And I'm going to pump them as my teacher Pat suggests. The calves are like the second heart. It's really good to keep the blood flowing in your calves. So I'm going to lift the other leg up. Oops, this other leg, other leg. Cross it over. And then draw this foot back. I'm centering myself again on my blanket. So I'm balanced on my hips here. And I'm going to lift my arm up and press into the floor in the back here and turn around. Good. So I think it's really important in these times of dread to center yourself and ground yourself and breathe. And then you can do all the political work you want to, but you want to try and maintain your equilibrium so you have your wits about you and you are filled with the delight of the everyday. All right, and here we come back again. I'm pressing into the ground, lifting up just a little counter movement. And I'm just going to stay on the floor. Now, if you're in a chair, you can continue to do those movements, rotating your spine. If you are on a mat, we're going to do pigeon, partly because I have a bit of a sciatica issue temporarily. So I'm working with the pigeon, which is just like this, the foot in a diagonal, and I'm drawing my back leg back, and this is the upright pigeon. You can have your foot pointed this way, or you could have it straight out with your foot flexed, but that is not good for my knees, so I do it this way. And I'm in an upright pigeon now, which does some interesting work on my body. It opens this hip flexor, and I can, if I like, come down onto my forearms, or I could come down like this, or I could come all the way down and make a pillow with my hands. So I find this helpful because it's very calming for me, and it helps my sciatica. Good. Now let's come up, and we're just going to go the other way. So I'm just going to move my legs over the other way. I can sit up. This is deer pose. You can do it both ways. We can do this a few times just to develop our hip mobility and to really get a sense of how our body's doing early in the morning. It's very early here. And I'm going to once again do the pigeon on this side. And of course, the thought of the Americans coming down the street is as much metaphoric as anything, because we've always been a colonizer, colonizing the indigenous people. We're a settler country. And we've also been economically colonized by the free trade agreement, which I demonstrated very powerfully against, because I was concerned about the American empire, economic empire, drowning us. And so it has come to pass. All right, so here we are up in our upright pigeon, and I'm coming down now. I'm going to make a pillow with my hands and just hold the pose. The object here is in the yin yoga, a pigeon pose. You would stay here for, let's say, 1 to 5 minutes. And the object is to develop resilience. And if it's too much for you there, you could come up, and then you could go into child's pose. You could come back into it if you like. The point of it is to find your edge, a space of discomfort, move towards it, and then move away from it. Move towards it and move away from it. I find this really quite a good pose, and I like to move slightly back and forth because it stretches different parts of my glute, different muscles, and it feels quite like a huge release. Very good. All right. So once again, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do deer pose a few times, a sort of moving deer pose here. Feeling the opening of my hips here. All right, good. So let's come down on our back. This is going to be a very short class. And I'm just going to draw my knees into my chest. I'm going to open my arms out, cross my legs, and do eagle arms. So I'm crossing my arms, holding my shoulders, bending my elbows, and then clasping my arms and lifting them up. Good. And now I'm going to open my arms out and do the same thing on the other side. Now by rights, we would be doing eagle, and we would have this foot wrapped around your leg, which my legs don't work like that, but yours might. Or you could have a block on the outside of your legs on the ground. So we're just playing around here. Good. All right, open it up. I'm going to do happy baby here. Stretching your feet to the sky. And then come down. Now we're going to do figure 4, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just lift our legs up, hold on to either the shin or the, either the shin or the back of the thigh, and draw your leg in. You could use this elbow to press that leg out. And I like moving a little bit, feeling the stretch and the sense of ease. Now I'm going to open my arms out, drop my foot to the side, and I have my upper leg, my upper ankle is coming slightly underneath my knee. So you don't have to do that unless it feels like you need a deeper twist. I also am shifting my hips in the opposite direction from my legs. And I'm looking at this hand, and then I'm turning and looking at this hand. And with this arm, I'm going to just draw this arm on the ground down towards my hip, and then up on the ground and around to the other side. Good. So ideally you have lots of space, which I don't seem to have this morning. But and this is a very good shoulder movement. You're lubricating the shoulder. The synovial fluid is flowing, juicing up your shoulder joint. Good. And then we'll come back again. We'll lift our feet up and our hips, and we will just take our, once again, take our ankle over our knee, draw that foot in, hold onto the shin or the thigh, and use this elbow to press up here. So this knee is coming in and you're pressing the other one in the opposite direction. And I'm slowly rocking a little bit. Good. Now you could, of course, hold this longer if you like. I'm going to just open my arms out. I'm going to twist and shift my hips to the side, and then drop my legs to the other side. And I can put my hand on my thigh here and look at the opposite hand and draw my arm down and draw it up and over, avoiding all of the furniture and architecture, and then back again. Here we are. Good. And once again, you could repeat this a number of times. It's very good for your shoulder. I'm going to keep this quite short, so I'm going to shift back to the center and just lift my legs up and do a dead bug. Let everything go. Very nice. Good. There we go. All right. So, and here I'm going to invite you to stretch out. Opening your arms up, feeling a sense of release and of rest, feeling the skin on your scalp and your face relax, feeling that your whole body settle into your mat so that you can find a sense of release and of beautiful calm. So this is the first of my Dread Be Gone yoga classes. They're going to be very short. And I'm going to just read from The Path of the Yoga Sutras, a practical guide to the core of yoga, on page 21, quotes Isa, listen, all creeping things, the bell of transience. So yoga believes that everything is change. And certainly that is what science believes too, that we were always changing. And I'll read also the Bhagavad Gita. Weapons cannot cut us. Fire cannot burn this. Water cannot wet this, nor can wind make it dry. And here is another quote that I like. The power of the universe will come to your assistance if your heart and mind are in unity. So trying to meld your breath with your movement really does provide some relief from the kind of obsessive thoughts that come up at this moment in time when you're worrying about world events and events closer to home. If you live in Alberta, we have a government that is entirely destructive and is frankly killing people. So on that happy thought, I'll leave you with your Dread Be Gone movements that you can practice every day. Thank you. The teacher and the student in me sees the teacher and the student in you. Deep bows to all of you. You could put one hand on your chest, one hand just below your belly, and empower your heart, and give heart to your power. And I dedicate the merit of this practice to all those who are suffering oppression everywhere.